everyone, so I am back with another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing Nikki Nicole's For My Savage, I Will Ride or Die, and He's My Savage, I'm His Rider. This is a two-part series, and I want to just start off with the cover of the book, with the cover of the book, and it has, the first one has a woman, so beautiful woman. There's also a man on the front, a handsome man, and then there's a car, which plays on the actual title of being a ride or die chick. So the cover fits. On the second cover, the man has been completely removed, and there's only the woman and the car. Again, alluding to the fact that she is a ride or die chick. But it also leads me to believe that she's going to take a little bit more control in the second book. That the woman presence is going to be a little bit more dominant. And just going into the story itself, the story is essentially about a family that has beef. So two different drug families who have beef with each other for several different reasons. We find out in the book that a lot of the characters are related, whether they're cousins, sisters, whether the moms are friends, the dads, whatever the case may be, all of the characters are related in some form or fashion. Now, there are a few different main characters in the book, and each one of them has a story. So there's Kalani and Young, they're dating. There's Casey and Armani, they're also dating. Raven and Cartier, they're in the somewhat relationship. And Young and Cartier are brothers, and Casey and Young are like best friends. That's their right hand man. A1 since day one. Now, in the beginning of the story, Kalani and Armani don't get along. They don't like each other. Later on, they form a relationship. Now, this relationship does happen a little bit faster than I would say is realistic, but they essentially form a bond, and they work together, and they help their men out throughout the story. So, within the book, like I said, the women, Kalani and Armani, they do a lot of things that would make them, that would consider them to be ride or die chicks. So, at one point in the story, they take out a group of men who have their men at gunpoint and are trying to rob them. A second one, Armani, she does the same because someone is trying to rob Casey. And then again, Kalani does the same thing when someone is trying to rob Young in their home. Now, I will say that I love the fact that the author played on, she made a switch for the roles. Now, although the men are considered savages, the women have definitely taken on this kill or be killed, and she uses this in the book, kill or be killed kind of personality and these characteristics. We see the women go into more action in the book than we do the men. The women do a lot of killing in this book, and it happens because they're trying to protect the men that they love. So everything that they get into, or every situation that happens, is a result of dealing with these men. But because they're ride or die chicks, they're going to do what it takes to make sure that they're not only safe, but their men are safe as well. The men, they have this controlling type of vibe to them. They want the women to listen to them and do what they're supposed to do, and they don't want the women to actually be a part of this lifestyle. But it makes no sense because the women like I said, the title is Ride or Die. Like, that's what the women are supposed to be doing, but the men they seem to have a problem with the women taking control and doing whatever it is necessary to make sure that they all come out alive in these situations. So, like I said, I really love the fact that the women switched roles. They took control. They were dominant in these in the events that happened in the book, and they didn't let the men stop them from doing what it is that was necessary. Now, within the book, there were some things that could have definitely been better. Starting with the grammar and editing, this was very noticeable. And you can tell within the book because it got a little bit confusing. The book was definitely confusing. It was told in the first person narrative, but there were also thoughts that occurred within the reader's mind. So you had to pay very, very close attention to ensure that you weren't confused as to what was going on and who was talking at the time. This was a little difficult for me, just because, like I said, I like to pay attention to detail. I like to be sure that I'm understanding who, what, where, when, why, in the story. So I need to know who did what, why they did it, when it happened, where it happened, that sort of thing. So it's difficult to follow the story just a little bit, just because of the organization and the way that the way that the characters talk within the story. So, for example, the author named one of the chapters. She names them, after each person. So whoever's point of view it's going to be told from, that's what the chapter is named. So, for example, if the chapter is about Kalani, she'll start off talking, but then also within her talking, she'll start going into thoughts within her own mind. And then from there, another character might come in and start talking and telling their story and also having thoughts within their mind. So it makes it just a tad bit confusing to follow. I've never seen it done that way, which is kind of interesting. Even though confusing, it was definitely interesting because, I like the element of talking to yourself. Not necessarily talking to yourself, but having thoughts within our mind, because in certain events you may be talking to someone, but then you're thinking something at the same time, which is real life, and because I do it all of the time. And so I think I love that aspect about the book as well. Like I said, just the characters having thoughts within conversations. It was definitely different, and I liked that about it. Now, moving on, I also enjoyed the fact that the characters were separate, but they were also a group. It was also an effort. The author took these characters, she made them separate, she gave them different personalities, but then she also made them related to each other in some type of way. So throughout the story, every character is related to another person in the book. In some way, form, or fashion, every character has relation to other characters. Now, to play on that, the author took some characters and she kind of threw them in there. Like, they just kind of popped up out of nowhere, but then she would take you back and say, oh yeah, this character was here at this time, but she didn't introduce the character back then and just kind of made them pop up in the future. Again, like I said, very confusing to keep up with, and you say, okay, I have to go back and remember what happened at this time, and it makes you wonder, why didn't the author bring the person up during that time, just to kind of get a little bit of introduction, so that when they did pop up, you were already like, hey, okay, I know who this is. Now I can get a little bit more background on it. Like I said, that made it just kind of confusing a little bit, but overall, I have to say that there was a great storyline. Like I said, it turned out to be a family beef, but within that beef, there were personal issues that each of these characters dealt with within their relationship. So, the women dealt with, like I said, saving their men, but then also, being a woman and learning that not everyone is your friend, which is, I want to say, one of the morals of the story, one of the morals in the book, because friendship has it was, there was a play on friendship within this book, and friendship is the reason for a lot of the drama that occurred. So the author took that, and she was able to twist it and make it into an actual problem within the book. So I love that about it as well. And I feel like with a little bit more organization and editing and grammar, the book definitely could have been a lot better. Definitely a lot better. If you're interested in seeing dominant female characters, this is definitely a book that you should read, because it definitely shows the independence that women possess, and it gives you that thug appeal that some women do have, and we see that within Armani and Kalani, and also Kalani's twin sister, and they show us that not only men can be savages, but women can too. And so I think she did a great job with that. I won't stay on too much longer, but like I said, overall the storyline was great. I enjoyed meeting the characters and getting to know them and finding out how each of them were related. It was kind of like a mystery, and you're just sitting there like, okay, so now I realize, okay, this person is related to this is how they know each other. So it's like putting a puzzle together, and so I definitely enjoyed that aspect of the book. So like I said, if you guys are interested in seeing some dominant female characters, putting some pieces of a puzzle together, this is definitely the book to read. Again, it is He's My Savage, I'm His Writer. And then For My Savage, I Will Ride or Die. And this is by Nikki Nicole. So definitely check that out. I'll post the pictures and all of that for the cover so that you guys can see and know exactly what book it is. But definitely go check it out. I enjoyed the book. And I would definitely say go ahead and read it. Check it out. And you guys go ahead and like, share, comment, tell me your thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought about the book if you have read it. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.